how do we turn this into this? There's nothing wrong with playing basic chords using a simple strumming pattern. Whether you're just here for the guitar tips or are into songwriting and making music of your own, many of the world's most beautifully poetic songs have been accompanied by nothing more than just a simple strummed guitar. But the likely reason we're all here on YouTube watching guitar improvement videos is that we want to progress. Maybe add some flourishing into our guitar playing, maybe start coming up with our own guitar parts and riffs. And if you're a songwriter or want to write songs, you probably already know that songwriters need to come up with catchy hook lines and melodies that listeners remember. Yes, these are usually sung melodies, so lyrics put over a top line melody, performed by a talented vocalist. But don't forget the instrumental melodies, usually the backbone of a song that people recognise before the vocalist even comes in. So, we're going to need a smidgen of music theory, but not much. I promise you that even if you instantly forget the theory, you'll still be able to use the techniques. So the song started with a C chord, or a C major. Now a C major is made up of 3 notes from the C major scale, C, E and G. The C major scale consists of C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and it carries on up D, E, F, G, A, B, C, and so on. It's useful to know where all of these are, but not essential for now. Now, if some of the notes from the C major chord are swapped out for different notes from within the C major scale, or extra notes added in from within the scale, it'll result in a variation of that C major chord. If, for instance, we take this first finger off, that changes the C note to a B note, which is the 7th note in the C major scale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Making that a C major 7. And that's as easy a chord change as it gets. Literally just take one finger off, changes from a C major to a C major 7. Now if we add the little finger or pinky finger onto the D note, which is the 9th note of a C major scale, we get a C add 9. Now let's strum those 3 variations of a C chord to create a sort of melody. And now we're finger picking. So next we went to a G major chord. Now, a little bonus tip, when we move from a C chord to a G, it can be quite nice to not play the low G bass note and instead land on this B note as our low bass note. This creates a G over B, as it's technically still a G chord, as it has the 3 notes of the G triad, D, G, B. But the lowest note is now a B note, hence a G over B. So now adding the first finger onto this C note, as we did with the C chord, doesn't make this a G major 7, as it made it a C major 7. That's because this C here isn't the 7th note of a G major scale, it's the 4th note. 1, 2, 3, 4. Making this a G sus4, sometimes shortened to G sus, which is actually the most holy of all guitar chords. Jesus, Jesus, get it? Jesus? Anyway, it's technically a G sus4 over B, as we're emitting that low G note. So then if we add our pinky back on this D note as we did earlier, some people may refer to this as a G5 or a G add 5, as we're adding an extra 5th, being the D, but technically that D's already in the G triad, so we'll just stick with a variation of G over B. Side note on naming conventions, don't worry if you don't remember any of this. Even I'm not entirely sure why you get C major 7, D sus4 and G add 9. I think I once knew, but the reasoning clearly wasn't interesting enough for my brain to store that information. So, If you can retain music theory, it will without doubt put you in good stead as a guitarist. You'll go far, young'un, but don't lose sleep over this stuff, the naming conventions and the theory behind chords. Just work on the technique and muscle memory will take over. Right, those G variations. Or finger-picked. Then we had a D minor. So this time we're using a similar, almost identical melody pattern, but instead played on the high E string. So like this. So removing this first finger of our D minor chord opens the F note to an E note, which is the 9th note of a D minor scale, making this a D minor 9. Then add the pinky, making a D minor sus4. And then finally we ended on the G major again, but this time we will play the low G bass note, not the G over B. And again we'll play some notes between the G major and the G sus4 position to close the loop. So in full. So that is pretty much the gist of it, using basic chord variations to create melodies. Don't be put off if you can't yet play fingerstyle. So these same chord variations and techniques can easily be incorporated into regular strumming using a plectrum or pick. And if you're struggling with regular strumming and rhythm guitar skills, then you might want to watch this video next. Please consider subscribing for more guitar related content. Gently tap the like button and maybe I'll see you in the next video.